Hey guys, in this video I am going to show you how to install, I guess, Font Awesome into a Hubspot COS. So let me tilt this back a little bit so I can see my screen. There we go. All right, so I am in my test account here, which is just a Hubspot developers portal, I guess. So I'm going to go into my File and Templates Design Tools, and then over on the side, as you can see, I've got some folders here, but I'm going to set up a brand new project real quick. I like to do this. I am in the wrong. I thought I was in Visual Code. Let's do a new folder. I'm just going to call this Z font awesome. Okay, and I do the Z because it kind of puts it down at the bottom. Not a big deal. So in this, I'm going to put a new folder. I'm going to call this one static. Inside static, I'm going to do another folder. I'm going to call this one CSS, and I will do one more folder in static, and I'm going to call that JS for JavaScript, and then I'm going to make another folder here, and we might or might not use this folder. We'll see, but I'm going to create modules, and then I am going to create another folder for templates, as you can see. And let me do this. Is that better? Probably better. Okay. All right. So let me close all this. This is all from a different tutorial. All right. So now that we have, let's close that. There we go. All right. Now that we have our folder structure for our project, let's go ahead and go to, so I'm going to do, this is actually going to be Font Awesome, probably spell that right, a Font Awesome 4 tutorial. I still use Font Awesome 4 as opposed to Font Awesome 5, but what I will do is I'll create another set of tutorials for Font Awesome 5. Really, I just don't, whoa, this is new. Can I download? Let's see. This looks like it took me to Font Awesome 5. It's the, I see, that wasn't the Font Awesome website. Where are we at here? Okay, Font Awesome. Okay, so what we're looking for is this 4.7 up at the top. That's what we're looking for, and that's what we have. So let's go get started, and then no thanks, I'll just stick with Font Awesome 4. That should take us to a download and customize. Here we go. Yeah, so we could do this using a CDN, and that's fine, I guess, but hey, let's try this one more time. But I don't know. I like to just install these natively into the portal, and then that way, I don't know, never have a problem. Ignore my my folders here. I'll create a new folder in my desktop because that's what I need, is another folder on my desktop. But I'm going to call this one Awesome Tutorial. Okay, so we need to download these locally. If you're on Windows, you can do this. I'm not sure about Mac. Always open files of this type, shown folder. That's what we're looking for. Okay, so let me bring this folder over. Okay, so what you get when you download is you get yourself a zip folder. For me, I'm going to go ahead and extract the files, but I'm going to extract them into their own folder. There we go. And if you want to, you can go ahead and delete the zip file. Going into the Font Awesome 4.7.0 folder, you'll find a CSS folder, fonts folder, lesson SCSS. Those aren't going to be used here, so we don't even need those. But we need the CSS file, which HubSpot's going to automatically minimize your CSS files. So if you use the full version, what's going to happen is you're going to be able to read it as opposed to the minimized version. And you will need to alter this a little bit, and I'll show you why in a second. That's the first thing you need to worry about, is the CSS file. The second thing is the fonts, the font files. This is the same set of font, or this is the same font, but it's just in different formats, which are used by different browsers, right? So, okay, so let's go back over into HubSpot. The first thing I am going to do, and this will actually be pretty quick, is I'm going to go into the CSS folder. I'm going to create a new file in the CSS folder, and I'm going to create a style sheet, and I will just call this Font Awesome 4. .css. Call it whatever you want. It's going to do the same thing. Doesn't matter. Okay. So I'm going to get this out of the way. Go ahead and minimize the sidebar there. I'm going to select all and I'm going to delete because we don't need that boilerplate. Now I need to go into the Font Awesome folder. I need to go into the CSS folder, and then I need to get the unminimized version. I'm going to right click. I'm going to open that with code, which you can use any text editor. As you can see, that's the Sublime logo there. So that's my default editor, but I just prefer code. Might take a second to open. It's taking a lot longer to open than I was expecting. Come on. There we go. Okay, cool. Okay, so I just select all, copy. That's Control A, Control V on Windows. I believe that's Command A, Command V on Mac. And as you can see, what I did was I just copied over the entire style sheet. So I'm going to do one thing here real quick, and that is I'm going to clean this up just a hair. Not a big deal, but as you can see, those files, those font files that we mentioned, those are what I am messing with right now, the reference to them in the fontawesome.css style sheet. Okay, so we're going to come back to this in just a second, but I'm going to publish, and I'm going to go to marketing. I'm going to go to files and templates, and I'm going to go to files. I control click, and that opens a new tab. If I go to upload files, that's fine. What I'm going to do is create a new folder, though, for this specific thing, because I probably have Font Awesome installed several times here. So this is just the name of my project. As you can see, I try to keep things pretty succinct. Probably not the right word, but that's the word I'm going for. All right, so now in our back on our local folder, I went in the Font Awesome 4.7.0 folder. I went into the fonts folder here, and all 6 of these fonts I'm going to go ahead and drag. Oh, come on. I'm going to drag that, and I'm going to select them all. I'm just going to drag them over into my HubSpot file manager. As you can see, now they're all available in my HubSpot file manager. Okay, so the last step here is we want to select just one of them. So you can't select copy this URL, and it's pretty frustrating, but let me show you a little trick. If I copy that, and I open a new tab and paste, what I want everything before the name. Right, so if you look in the local folder, as you can see, everything starts out as Font Awesome -web font. Okay, we want everything in the URL before that. Everything. Okay, and then we're just going to go ahead and Control C, copy that over to the Design Manager. So now what we want to do is we want to edit these references to those files. So in this case, we're going to delete everything before the file name there and replace it with that URL. There you go. Now, be careful. You don't want to delete the file name. Keep in mind that there are some queries, some add-ons, some extra information, whatever you want to call it. It's right here at the end of those file references. I don't know exactly how important those are. That's really not my area of expertise. However, don't change it. We won't have a problem, right? Okay. So let's go ahead and publish that. And then we need to go back to... Oh, no, we don't need to go anywhere. So our files are already plugged in. That can be closed. We don't need that anymore. Let's close that. Okay, and then I don't need this local folder anymore, I don't believe. No, I don't need that for anything. So I'm going to go ahead and close that. And I don't need my code editor open anymore, so I'll go ahead and close that. Okay, now, using Font Awesome. This is actually pretty simple. So if you just do a Google search for... Font Awesome 4 icons. There you go. There's 2 different ways to look at these icons. So this is the actual. I'll go ahead and Control click to open a new tab there. These are the icons themselves. They're clickable, as you can see. You can also do icons cheat sheet, and this is a different version. Okay, these aren't clickable. These are copyable. So you can Control C copy that icon, and as long as Font Awesome is available to recognize the code for that icon, which would be this, then it should work. I think this is mainly used for design purposes. I mainly use this for design purposes, I should say. So like I can copy and paste an icon from here over to Illustrator, over to Photoshop, and as long as it's the right font is set, which would be Font Awesome, the icon comes through. If you find yourself on this page for whatever reason, you might be in the wrong spot. What you want is this page right here. So I am going to go ahead and grab an icon. Probably, I don't know, it doesn't really matter, but let's be picky. I don't know. Let's use this bell. So see, as you can see in the regular list of icons, I was able to click on that and I get the page information for the icon itself. A couple of things to keep in mind is the Unicode is right there. Okay, and then it gives you an example of how to use it as an icon right there, or an icon element, I should say. The Unicode is good for if you're using it in CSS, specifically as a before or after element, or pseudo element, I should say. Okay. So let's go ahead and copy this icon and see what happens. So I am going to create a module in my module folder, but I'm just going to do that for the sake of testing this out. So I want to create a new file in the module. I want to create a new file in the module folder. I want that to be a module, and I'll go ahead and use that on pages and blogs. And then I'm going to name this Z Font Awesome Content Block. Sure, that will work. Okay, so let's create that. I'm going to close this sidebar because we don't need to look at that anymore. Everything's zoomed in, so that's why everything looks so large. All right, so as usual, I like to go through here and uncomplicate things. Don't need the template usage right now, at least. Don't need field translations. We don't need to tag our module at the moment. We probably won't even need fields. Right now, really all we need to do is we need to link that Font Awesome style sheet. There we go. I want to see one thing. I want to font. Oh, I see. Okay, so I actually only have Font Awesome on here once. But either way, you know what? I'm gonna do this as well, just to try to make things a little easier to see. I'm gonna use this Reely.css file. Not important to this tutorial. It's just purely for structuring so that the icon is visible on the screen. But I'm gonna set this up. I typically would create a module wrapper, so I call this one content block, and then inside there I would do page center, and I'll probably give this like a padding of TB 60. Yeah, there you go. That ought to do it. Okay, so then I'm just going to paste. I copied this. Let's close that cheat sheet. We don't need that. I copied this icon element there, as you can see with FA Bell classes. Those are Font Awesome classes. Okay, so if this works, then we should just see the element, right? We have the font.css file there, and it's being applied to this module. So let's preview this module and see if we see a bell. We see a bell. There you go. All right. So once you have that part done, and that really is the hardest part, which is installing the font files onto your HubSpot portal. After that, it's really just a matter of styling. So just a quick example. I think we're pretty much done here, but I'm just going to go ahead and say content block I. Let's make that font size, I don't know, let's call it 3.6 REM. Again, that is going to be affected by the Reely.css style sheet. Font size 3.6, and then let's just give it like a color of yellow. Nah, it's probably not visible. Blue. And then I'll just publish, and it should be much larger and blue. Okay, there you go. That's pretty much it. I think the only other thing that we could do here is if I went to content, let's get this out of the way. I'm going to pull this up because we don't need any more HTML there. Let's do content block, and then I'll just show you how to use a before or after with this. So the content here is going to be the Unicode, right? So let's choose a different icon than the bell here. And let's go to the car. Yeah, bells and cars. Okay, so in this situation, we actually want to copy this Unicode. There you go. Oh, and make sure there's not a space. And one thing that you do want to add there, I'm not sure if that comes through. It doesn't. Okay. So as you can see, when I copied this, I get, I believe that's FLB9. That might be F1B9, but either way. The only thing is here is that I just need to add, or you just need to add a / there. And that will, I guess that's how CSS recognizes that. That's like Unicode, you know. So, and then from there, we want to, actually, let's not set the font family just yet. What I want to do, I don't know, let's just see what happens here. Okay. Okay, so we get that little block. So that's saying that this is an icon, or I guess a character, if you will, for a font that we don't recognize. You know, it's not an alphanumerical character. We don't understand what it is. That means that it's not checking font awesome for that font, which is, it's weird because it's an icon, but it's a font icon, so it's a font. You know, it's just. Anyways, so what we want to do is we actually want to set the font family there, and I believe that is going to be a capital F font, capital A, awesome, no spaces. Let's check that out and see. Yep, okay, so there you go. So I'm just going to make this relative. Again, that's going to be from Reely.css, but you can do that manually through your own CSS if you want to. And then I'm going to make content-block_. I'm going to give this a position of absolute, which I would do in the HTML, but it's a pseudo element, so it doesn't exist actually. And then, I don't know, I'll just do like a bottom of 0 and then a right of 0. And as you can see, it's going to be on the bottom right, way out of the picture, way down here. Let's see why this is so. Okay, I'm doing something wrong there, so let's just do this. I'm going to do content-block. Just do a position relative, and then. Okay, there you go. So as you can see, the little cars down there. And then if you want to style it, it's pretty much the same thing from that point, which we can just copy this and apply that to the pseudo element after. There you go. And as you can see, now it's a big blue car. So we can also, one last thing, pretty much the same thing, but we'll do it before. Let's change the car to green. Let's change this new icon to red. Let's make this bottom 0. Let's make that top 0, and then yeah, it's fine. It's just going to stack them. I just want to try to make them all visible for you, but not a big deal. And then let's just, sure, I was going for the bullseye, but that's ironic. I don't know what that is, but I just missed the bullseye and I got the calendar. That's fine. But I didn't grab the Unicode, I grabbed the icon element. So I'm going to copy the Unicode, I'm going to replace the bell or the car Unicode there on the before. Now if we look, we should have 3 icons. They are stacked, so we can, let's just do 50%. And almost centered. There we go. Let's get this out of the way there. Okay, so now we've got the actual element that exists as an icon, which is the bell. Right there. And then we've got this red calendar, which is the before pseudo element right here. And then we've got the green car, which is the pseudo after element right here. And that's basically it. I really can't think of any other way to use Font Awesome in HubSpot. But if I missed anything, let me know. All right. Thanks for watching.